Hey, Grand Rising Collective. It is so early. I do have like a couple of downloads and messages. So I woke up, and like I had this dream, okay? And it was like kind of reiterating a conversation I had with someone before, like an ex of mine. So, anyways, in my dream, like, I was with my daughter. We were like at this house, and we were just like, we were having fun, you know what I'm saying? My ex was there. I was so excited to see my ex, like so excited to just be with my ex, you know what I'm saying? And my daughter, like, she was okay with it, but she was just looking at me though at the same time. Like, I kind of felt like her energy was like, Mom, are you serious right now? Okay. Oh, all right, okay, I guess, you know? Um, it was a silent disapproval, but a silent okay, right? Um, so I'm like, huh, okay, whatever. But anyways, like, so my ex and I, like, I don't know, I think like we had like a little mini conversation. I don't know, but we were just in the dream you could tell we missed each other, you know what I'm saying? And we started like kind of like kissing each other and like kind of, in the scenes in the movies when like people are hungry for each other and like they're kissing and then like they get pushed up against the wall and then they're fumbling around, but they're moving towards their bedroom door, and they're like clumsily like pulling clothes off and stepping out of shoes and shit, like it was that type of a scene and that type of an energy. But as soon as like we got into the bedroom and the door closed, um, I heard, tell him the truth. And I'm like, a part of me jumped inside. Like, it's so weird because it was like, when you're like nervous, like you get that, that quickening inside, you know what I mean? And I had that quickening inside, but it was like, I was like, man, like, I don't want to hurt nobody. And, and I heard, tell him the truth. So I was like, I took a deep breath. I was so scared, but I was like, I have to do this. I was like, I have to be confident in myself, to be strong enough within myself to speak my truth, So I took a deep breath and I released it, and I told the person the truth. Like, why, like I told him, was like, I love you, but, you know, that but, um, and after I said whatever I had to say to this person, I woke up and I started crying, not immediately. I did start crying. Um, so a part of you, something you've, you're honoring yourself. First off, you're honoring your truth. You're standing in your authentic self. Okay. Um, you know, and like something that had came to mind in my dreams, usually like I would be intimate with this person in my dreams, you know what I'm saying? But this time, like, it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like if I would hear, oh, da 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 da, you need to, I would like, it would kind of brush past that, like, oh, whatever, it's the feeling of, it's the moment of, it's the moment, this moment, you know what I'm saying? Um, and this time, it was like, no, this is that moment. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. So you've come into a part of yourself where you're able to speak your truth. You're able to honor your truth. You're able to protect yourself. Um, that's growth. You know, um, you could just be really realizing that for yourself, or maybe you've always had like, you know, I feel like you've grown in some way. Something has shifted inside of you where you're no longer just accepting shit, where you're no longer just like, oh, um, just because I love doesn't mean I have to live with what isn't in alignment for me, what isn't healthy for me. I think a lot of people, they forget to live in that space, okay? They forget to live within the space of honoring, like, themselves. We all live in these dynamics, accepting these situations that don't align with and honor the person that we are created to be, that we have become thus far up until that point. You know, so I don't know. And the fact of that it was a romantic relationship as well. You know, it also shows that you're not shut down. That dream also showed like my heart space isn't shut down. Like, I'm still hopeful. You know what I'm saying? I'm still hopeful for love. While still being able to honor my boundaries. Maybe in the past, like, not even maybe, 100%, though I had boundaries, I allowed people to trespass, which was a dishonor to myself. Why, another reason why, I've had so much different types of pain, heart pains, emotional heart pains in my life as well. Some things that could be avoided, but also things, played into my my heart space role where it was overreactive, overactive, you know what I'm saying? Because of the type of individual that I am, like, yo, I want to help. You know what I'm saying? I want to help and relieve whatever I can, when I can, how I can, when I can, if I can. You know what I'm saying? And so that energy was so overreactive, and it was being played out, and the roles attached to the roles and the senses of like, the traumatic roles of abandonment, of being a people pleaser, and those type of things. Okay, it doesn't mean that my heart was fake or my actions were fake. It means that it was coming from a traumatic space. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, you've faced something, you've grown in some way, you've shifted in some way, collective. Especially if you're viewing this, this is a confirmation. I know I'm speaking on my experience. That's all that I have to draw from. So, if you feel some type of way, or like, oh, she's always talking about herself. I'm not. I'm talking about a collective energy that shares in the same you know what I'm saying, that's within the same energy that I'm in currently, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Hopefully you understand, and you don't think that I'm just conceited or some shit. I'm not. I mean, well, maybe a portion of me is, but ultimately most of it is probably like not even 1%. All right. But in this moment, I did concede to self. So yeah, it was crazy, that it was a crazy release was a crazy realization. I think it needed to happen too, to fully let go and release. Um, you know, some shit. Just some shit. And it's not even, I feel like this person, this ex in my dream, represented a whole slew of people from my past. You know what I'm saying? It was just it was just that energy. Um, so yeah, there's that. All right, let's get us some. I don't have my other cards with me, so I gotta use my my learning deck, guys. But yeah. Okay. So some messages for this collective that are realizing just different shadow parts. What is this? The Lovers. You can definitely be a Gemini energy. That's, you could be a twin flame energy. You could be a mutable sign. But yeah, so this has to do with communications, ways of communication and love. So, to me, that just ties back into, communications in relationships, period, right? The Lovers, they represent relationship. A lot of times, romantic relationship. But they also represent communication, mercurial energy because of that Gemini energy, okay? And these are the highest forms of pairs as well, in my opinion. The only other card I think that looks similar to the Lover's card is the Devil card. So to me, this is like the higher form of relationships, Capricorn or the Devil energy. Like, that's the karmic lessons. You know what I'm saying? Toxicities. It's just, this is like higher forms of love, right? So you could be stepping into a higher dimension of love, of self. And I feel like it's creating a ripple effect. It's allowing for spirit to bring you a love that now matches you on the level that you're at, whatever space where you're at. For me, that's me honoring my voice and having the courage to do so. And shit, So I feel like you guys could have a protective love coming in, a communicative love coming in, an exciting love that may be coming in with it, that's grown within yourself already. You know what I mean? And that's if, that's if you have an energy coming in towards you within like a person, but just that energy coming in within self, like that energy is growing more. The energy of loving protection, loving kindness, loving truth. You know what I'm saying? Loving wisdom. You have the wisdom to recognize. Just recognize whatever it is, Let's get into what this Lover's card is bringing. It is in the upright, and it says themes, relationships, the astrology, Gemini, love relationships, partnerships, family, duality, crossroads. Yeah, see, I feel like you were at a crossroads, and I feel like that dream was also signifying with the fact that, I was finally able, instead of slipping back into old patterns and old ways, I was able to stand up and honor um, the truth of my voice. I feel like you guys are um, doing the same, are either learning in the process or have done that. Really, if you're in the process of learning, you're coming to that point. You're very close. For those of you who have already crossed that threshold and have taken um, that choice, and you'll know who you are. You'll know whether you slip back into old ways. But I'm really feeling like I'm speaking to the ones that stood up, and you're walking down. It could seem like a different path, but it's the same path. It's always been your path. You know what I'm saying? But it's the path that you're meant to walk ahead in. Okay. So that threshold marker, that could be a landmark on your map of self. Okay. As well. Yeah, so harmony's coming back into your life, where you could have felt choked up before. Harmony's coming back into your life, and a lot of balance. Yeah, because of the choices that you made. Yeah, so it says communication, harmony, cooperation, interactions, and choice. Okay, the choices that you've made in love. The choices in loving yourself. What else do you want the collective to know that is viewing this reading? Okay, so we also have here the Five of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles. So, where you could have felt like some form of stability within inside of yourself was blocked. Okay. I feel like that's been released. I feel like you just released that shit. So, that's how I saw it, like that. Yeah, where you had a block, I feel like that block is released, and either something is about to flow within your stability because of this release. Okay. Because you have a more firm foundation. You have a new foundation within yourself. Okay. That's what I'm reading with that Ace of Pentacles. You released an emotional wound, an emotional block, an emotional, I feel like too, you've opened up a sense of your throat chakra as well. So we have Five of Wands, conflict, Wands, business, family, ambition. So this definitely has to do with relationships, family relationships, Fives, change and uncertainty. Keywords, mock battles, debate, the devil's advocate, stress, assertiveness, and brainstorming. So you could have been trying to make sense of all of these things that were happening within your relationships. Okay. Whether that's in family, whether that's in your business, because it does mention business. So your career, this has to do with what? Bosses, coworkers, clientele. Excuse me, I ain't even washed my face or brushed my teeth. If the video cut off, that just means that it's time for me to get up and I gotta go wash my ass. Okay. So look, and that's even significant. Me remembering that, okay? Like you washed your ass of something. You cleaned some shit off of you. Okay? Um I'm hearing somebody could have been, you could have people in the energy of coming in the energy of your life of like this pompous ass energy, this fake ass energy, because I'm hearing that make way for Prince Ali, make way for Prince Ali. You know what I'm saying? I'm hearing now, oh wait, come on and witness, it's a great new star. um I'm hearing don't you go too far, cause it's Prince Ali, fabulous he, Ali Abwa, right? Strong as 10 regular men, take it from me. Okay, so I'm hearing he fought 100 bad guys with swords. Okay, so anyways, like there's that air energy. Okay, so you're very strong. Okay, you could have been operating, you know, in a fake energy, like, you know, not even, to me, it's not even really fake. To me, it's like ultimate magician manifestation, you know, him and his genie, right? But with his, he became royalty. He was royalty. He was destined for royalty. You know what I'm saying? Destined for living the life in the palace and having finer things. And you know what I'm saying? But before he actually became that, he had to speak his truth too. He had to overcome so many different trials, right? Different shadow aspects of himself. Right, collective. So before, you know, he already had the girl. You know what I'm saying? Almost lost the girl. Now I'm hearing Jasmine's, or not Jasmine's, Little Mermaid's You Wanna Kiss the Girl. Right, so anyways, but like back to Aladdin, like him fighting through Jafar, and then having to go and rescue and free his magic, which is the genie, having to go and save his girl, right? Winning love, or not even winning love, honoring love, and showing what you know, you gonna fight for your love. You know what I'm saying? You know, but like I said, he came in all this pomp and splendor and glamour, right? When he first entered into their lives. Okay, and you could have been dressed in such an energy that was always your energy. I feel like with wishes and things like that, because you know he was making wishes and you know working his magic, right? So that energy has to come from somewhere, and I don't think it comes from just anywhere. I feel like it has to come from a portion of what is within. You remember his dreams, right? Before he even met and got the lamp, right? He's telling Jasmine his dreams, right? And Jasmine, you know, I feel like this represented not only like, you know, whatever his love, but like I think that represented another dynamic of himself, like, right? He's like, oh, isn't it wonderful? Look at how, you know, it's all like his eyes are all bright and shiny, like, you know, and he's speaking of the feeling of that wonder and like that excitement and like that dream, you know. And then she's like, yeah, but it's not all cracked up to what you think it is, or you know. But then he's like, but can you think about it, about all the glory and all the wonder of the world? You know what I'm saying? And then he goes and he what? I think he goes and he shows her the world. You know what I'm saying? So, but he was always him. Within all of those roles, he was always himself, figuring out himself. And I feel like, you know, you've come out of conflict. You come out of being blocked in some way of of honoring who you are. You know what I mean? You know, you could have had points in your life where you were like, was it like pretend strength? Was it fake strength? You know, some like that mock, right? But I'm getting like mock strength, you know, because I'm seeing the scene where, Aladdin, he was all confident. He was like, oh yeah, watch, I'm going to show you what it is. And he goes and he pulls his, what is it? I don't want to call it a turban, but he pulls his, his head garment off, and where he would keep his lamp, and he sees that it's not there, and he's shocked. He's like, oh, what? So you could have relied upon the fact that you were able to slip out of things before, like because he was a street rat, right? So Aladdin, what he had to steal for his, right? He had to finesse people, for his. He had to use his gift of gab, to get out of situations. He had to use like, oh, look over there, look at that shit, and make his slip away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I mean. So him relying upon the genie, right, thinking he had that magic in that moment, which he did. The magic was himself, right? He was in that false confidence because of all of those, like, oh, I was able to get out of this before, and I was able to maneuver this way, even though, he was just surviving, and, he was living in the truth of the reality that, was his reality at that time. Before opportunity came, before a devil came knocking and gave him the opportunity for that elevation through, right, kidnapping him. Like, oh, yeah, we just gonna say that he kidnapped the princess, right? You know what I'm saying? Because he kidnapped love. He was like, oh, I see that. I like that. I'm about to get that. Let me get that. Let me bag that, right? He was like, oh, she's so beautiful. What? Let me go help her out, right? So, not realizing that love was going to elevate, that just that one look was going to elevate him, right? It brought that other devil into his life, right? So take the roles how you want, because Jasmine, she came from a privileged life. She had her folks, you know what I'm saying? Her daddy, the Sultan, you know what I'm saying? So, she the princess, she the beauty of the kingdom. You know what I mean? She living a lush life. Ain't gotta worry about shit, ain't, know some shit, don't know some shit, know that there's more out there, right? So, wanting more. Now I'm getting like that Beauty and the Beast, wanting more than just a boring life, right? So he saw that and was like, yeah. And people, but whatever, you know what I mean? Because I'm even getting that energy of her faking like she was crazy, right? Because he's like, yo, play like this. You know what I mean? Whole life was changed by some people will call a chance an encounter, but I think it was an encounter led by love, right? I don't know. Both of their hearts wanted something different, wanted something else. Well, she had it all. He had it all, and in a sense too. He had that freedom. He had that zest for life. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't have anybody. He had a boo. He had his spirit animal with him, you know, helping him out. So you could have had a trickster energy helping you out too. All right, let's get into this foundation, right? So work, money, education, beginning, ideas, potential, good fortune, rewards, new job, promotion, security, graduation. Like I feel like you guys have graduated. Starting school, I feel like you guys have graduated. You guys have been promoted in a sense, and you guys are receiving good fortune and rewards for a job well done. Okay, but this could also be opening up for you in the realms of your physical life. More money, you know, for the internal work that you've done. Right? Because he went through all of that shit to get to this. To get to his new job position, because now he's a prince of you know what I'm saying? Now he a prince. Okay? So that's his new job. That's his new role. You know, he got them rewards. You know what I'm saying? He got Jasmine. You know what I'm saying? And he got Raja and to boot too. So he got a new spirit animal too. You know what I'm saying? No. And he could go where he want because he got that magic carpet, right? You know what I mean? But he had that before. But I'm just saying what was added on to him, right? New position, prince, right? Rewards, he get that love and that nookie from Miss Jasmine. You know what I'm saying? And then what was it? Good fortune. That was his good fortune. To live the life that he led, because it brought him to that pinnacle, or that turning point where he met her, and boom, all the way down to now he living his dream. Because he talked about that vision. Oh, but it has a great view. You see this view? Got a great view. You know what I'm saying? Pulling that curtain, got a great view. So, yeah. And, you know, for sure he got that security because the Sultan loved him. What else? Things are balancing out for you emotionally, physically, materially. What's good for this collective? All because you've honored a part of yourself. You decided to speak the truth to yourself. What else do we got here? We have here the Three of Cups. Get ready. I feel like you're about to come into a lot of celebrations. All right. You have reason to celebrate. You faced a part of yourself that you were faced with, that you were afraid to face in your past. I was afraid to speak up for myself, to say certain things. You can call it weakness if you want to. I was weak. I was weak in those moments of not honoring whom I was. As far as being like a weak individual, like I was never a weak individual. I was just weak within myself within those moments, not speaking my truth, not speaking like, hey, you can't do this to me. You can't trespass against me in this way. You're not allowed. You know what I mean? And that tied into so many other different things, to whatever traumas I went through, you know, my abandonment, my fucking worth. You know what I'm saying? Being slapped being slapped the first couple of times before I learned, like, oh, let me just keep my mouth shut and let me not just say nothing anyway. You know, I'm gonna get slapped anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get the cold knocked out my mouth. You know what I'm saying? Um, because, you know, I was a very expressive child. Fucking my mouth ran like a mile a minute, motor mouth. And my voice is coming back. My voice is here. Not coming back. My voice is here. My voice was stolen from me. It was shut down from me at a very young age. You know, told backhand. I don't know. Maybe I had a slick mouth. Maybe I just said some shit too bluntly, and maybe they thought it was whatever. I don't care anymore. All I know is that we honoring certain parts of ourselves, and we about to be rewarded for it, because it's a job well done and rewards well earned, right? So we have the Three of Cups. Yeah, celebration. It's time to celebrate. You're about to be celebrating in love, happiness, your spirituality, you look self-expression and growth. You're gonna have a lot of joy, pleasures from this healing, from the healing insights that you've been having. And it says parties and weddings, so I feel like you're even that much more married to self. Okay, sharing happiness with friends. You're about to be sharing a whole bunch of happiness. You could be coming into your tribe or your soul family. Okay, you could have released these soul ties. I think you've just accepted the decision that you made. You know, I think you could have been wrestling with it. Not even like, oh, is this the right thing? I think you've come to terms with, like, yeah, I love these people, but I feel like you're finally in that energy of like, I don't have to set myself on fire for another just because I love them, just to prove that I love them. You know what I mean? I can love them and still honor myself and still love and show the deepest form of love of myself by honoring my boundaries, you know? And if you're crossing them boundaries, you don't belong over here because, you know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to do? You know what I'm saying? Because you think a boundary does need to be in place, whether that's for your own selfish reasons or because you think it'd be healthier for this other individual if this boundary wasn't there, and you know you're just gonna do some shit. No, that's more harmful. That's harmful. Whether you're coming from a place of care or if you're coming from a place of I don't know why I heard trust and intention, but it's the intention. Okay, whether you're coming from a genuine place of care and trust, or whether you're coming from a place of like, oh, I'm gonna do this because I'm about to get this, because I want this, I'm gonna take this, you know, type of energy. Either way, it's all bad. You allow the person to learn whatever lessons they need to learn to get to the point that they need to get to within. It's their journey. You may be helping them in a sense and form, getting them there a little bit, chipping a little bit there to get them there closer. You could look at it that way as well, in that type of perspective as well. But what is the intention? What is the intentional flow of it? What is the intentional dynamic energy that you're operating in? You know, or that these people are operating in. Anyways, Aladdin got the prize. You about to get the fucking prize too. You about to live your dream. And it's going to be everything that you wanted it to be. Okay? We have here the Emperor. So you're